Hey there, this is Matt with State of Flux, here with a review for Civil War. But before I talk to you about that, I'd like to highlight an auction that I'm participating in. I'm selling some of my old pre-code comic books, things like Jumbo Comics, Jungle Comics, and JoJo, as well as early DC and Marvel stuff. We have the first appearance of Power Girl, Silver Surfer #1, Daredevil #1, a lot of classic stuff that direction, as well as posters, old posters for films such as 1976's King Kong, an early re-release poster for Psycho for its first re-release in the 60s. These classic comics and classic posters are available for pre-bidding currently for the auction that starts in full on October 13th. I urge you to check that out. In the description below there will be a link. But moving on to A24's Civil War, this is a film that I really quite liked, though it took me by surprise because it was a little different than I was expecting. I was expecting this film to take more of a firm political stance, but this film doesn't really seem to be concerned with any politics, but is more of an interesting examination of a political divide and what that can do through to our country. This is more of an experiential film of what it's like living in a world that is in divide and how corrosive it can be, to the point where the main characters are left completely cold and rigid and stuck in a world of ugly indifference. This is an ugly film, though photographed very beautifully, that highlights what it's like to live through this lens of one possible future that we may be indeed heading towards, or even are currently living in now. This takes things to extremes, but as we've seen in real life areas close to us, like the Ukraine and whatnot, things like this can happen, and they can happen overnight, and it is raw and it's brutal. And this film is not afraid to shy, or does not shy away from that. It's not afraid to expose it and highlight it. This is an incredibly well-acted film as well. Kirsten Dunst, who typically gives a little more bubbly performances, even in her more melancholic roles like Melancholia, is completely void of emotion, yet is completely emotive in incredibly subtle ways. She gives a tremendous performance, and one that I hope is not forgotten about at the end of the year, though this came out so early on, I'm afraid it will be. She is great. Cailee Spaeny is also absolutely fantastic. She's an actress that kind of dissolves into any role she is given. You put her performance in this next to who she played in Alien Romulus, or Priscilla from last year, or hell, even the young woman in Bad Times at the El Royale, and it doesn't even feel like it's the same actress. She is really that good. As I say, she dissolves into any role she's given. She's kind of chameleon-esque that way, and doesn't get the praise I think she deserves. I would like her to get that, and I think this film is one that's going to take up more viewership as we move further into our year here and whatnot. As I say, it's an awards contender, to say the least, on multiple different levels, and I hope it is not forgotten. I think the fact that it is one that came out earlier in the year, is on a very approachable streaming platform, and as we move into a time of extreme political divide with elections coming up shortly, I think people are going to start revisiting this one, and it will stay in the conversation. At least I'm hoping so, because there's stuff in here that I think is worthy of that praise. I give this film a very firm 3.5 stars. It's one of the best films of 2024 so far. I would like to hear what you have to say about it. Make sure you check out the link for my auction, as well as follow me on TikTok. A link for that will be down below as well. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.